Half moon pose, or your Ardha chandrasana, as it's known in Sanskrit, is a standing balance posture. I can't emphasize enough how useful a block is for this pose, so please bring one if you've got one. Okay, get your block on the highest height, and it's going to go over to the right hand side of your mat. And we're going to start from a triangle so that we can kind of encourage that sideways opening that we need in our half moon pose. Gosh, nearly forgot the name of what we're doing. Great. Turn your right toes towards the top of the mat, left toes to the side of the mat. Reach your arms out to the side. You're hugging your thighs in towards each other. And then you're going to lean your right arm as far forward as you can, pressing that left hip back behind you until your right hand comes down to your shin. It might be a little bit higher, it might be lower, might be all the way to your foot. Lifting your left arm up. And the whole point of this is to kind of turn your torso up towards the ceiling whilst pressing your back against an imaginary wall behind you. So finding that space. Then I want you to bring your left hand to your hip, and I want you to bring your right hand to that block. So make sure it's a little out to the side of that right foot, a little in front. Press your hand down into the block. Start to lean the weight into the right leg, and then lift that left foot up. Now flex the toes, and you want the toes to face the side. I know it starts to get tricky because we're starting to turn, right? When we're gazing at a spot directly below us, it feels easier to balance. So keep your gaze there for a moment. Use that left hand on your hip to kind of manually turn that hip to the side. There's a little bend in that right leg. Yeah, a little bend. And then you might start to look up towards the left-hand side. Yes. And then you might reach your left arm high. So flexing that back lifted foot. And just like we did in our triangle, if it feels okay on the neck and you're not too wobbly, maybe looking up towards that left hand. And that's going to encourage your torso to open up to the side. It's strong, right? Through the legs, through the ankle, through the side. Take another breath wherever you are. And then can you ground that foot back into your triangle pose? Yes. And then reach your arms all the way up. And just shake it off. We're going to take it over to the other side. So just take a little wiggle with the legs, anything that you need. And place that block at the left-hand side of your mat. So left foot in front this time, right foot facing the side. We're finding that triangle pose first. So we're going to reach the arms out to the side, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Lean forward with that left hand as far as you can, pressing that right hip back. And then taking that left hand down towards your shin as you reach your right arm up. Twisting the torso so that you're trying to open it up towards the side. Bring it up towards the ceiling. Relax the shoulders. Take a breath here. You're hugging those thighs in towards each other. And then bring that right hand to your waist. Send that left hand down to your block. You might experiment as well with testing, kind of taking that block out wider, bringing it a little further forward. Something will feel better for you and will feel a little less wobbly. So just keep practicing, keep trying. Press your hand down into that block. Start to lean into the front leg as you lift that back leg up. And just take a moment staring at the mat below to find your balance. Turn your toes to the side as you manually use that right hand to turn your hip to the side. Maybe you start to gaze to the side too. There's a little bend in that left knee. And this applies obviously to the other side as well. Make sure that that left foot, so that grounded foot, the toes are facing directly in front of you. Now you might play with taking your gaze to the side You might lift that arm all the way up, finding that space, flexing that back foot, keep lifting that back leg. You might gaze up towards your right fingertips. Yes, take a breath. And then as gently as you can, just like me, falling all over the place, come back to your triangle pose. Just a note on that, balancing seems to be like a really hard thing for us in terms of we feel embarrassed when we fall and we wiggle, but someone once said to me that you're literally not balancing unless you're falling. Right? If you were to just be upright and nothing was going on, there's no balance there. Like those wibbles and wobbles are what keep you balancing and what kind of test it. So accept them as much as you can, because I know I find it hard, right? I think we all do. Note on the block, I always use a block with this pose. In fact, it was probably the pose in which I first started seeing a block as not just something to, I don't know, go to if you couldn't find a pose. It is so useful because it gives you that extra length. Obviously, people will bring their right fingertips down, but can you see how I'm curling my body over? I'm not getting the openness that I get as soon as I press my hand into the block. I can find that turn, which is just increasing everything and helping me find that stretch. You can, of course, play with what level that block's on, and by all means, if your fingers are coming down there and you're still able to get that opening, then do that too. But a lovely testing balance, a nice one I think to see progression in and to see as you start to change your viewpoint from the ground beneath you to the side up to the hand. Thanks for joining me. Please subscribe if you liked what you saw, and hopefully see you next time.